Welcome to the WoodsTalk podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the WoodsTalk podcast with me, freelance window licker, Rory Woods, and special guest, Paddy of Mc Donnell. Namaste, boy. How's it going?
I'm grand. How are you, sir?
I'm spot on. It's very good to see you. It's very good to do a podcast today, and I'll tell you why. There's three good reasons to be in good form today. Number three, obviously we have a bit of good weather. Number two, we also have the announcements in terms of easing out of lockdown. And number one, as of this recording, Paddy Mc Donnell has sold out the Ulster Hall. Congrats. How are you feeling?
I know. I'm feeling great, mate. I mean, didn't really expect to even be doing it this year. And then, you know, the way things went, a few podcasts, and then ended up selling out a few shows in the Limelight. Then went and booked the Ulster Hall, and that sold out. So I'm blown away by it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's class, man. It's class.
It's good to see. It's good to see.
Well, for sure. I mean, like in terms of, you know, the amount of tickets you had to sell in a time where people weren't sure if they were buying tickets to a gig that was going to go ahead on that date. Now, I know it wasn't going to be cancelled, but I mean, when your show is October, November, is it, the Ulster Hall?
November, yeah. Yeah,
so, I mean,
the end of November.
So that was likely maybe pushed to next year. As of a couple of weeks ago, you wouldn't have been surprised if that was pushed on. You know what I mean?
Definitely not, mate.
But yeah, that's great. I mean, what can people expect from it? Because obviously you have your wee Limelight shows, and then you have your big Limelight show with William Thompson, which is obviously format-wise a bit different. What's the difference between all those shows for people that might not know?
Well, I feel like I'll not shortchange anybody with the Limelight shows in terms of the ones on the tools. It'll just be a smaller version of what I'm doing in the Ulster Hall.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I think the Ulster Hall is going to. I genuinely am going to make it a massive night.
Yeah.
And I want to make it an experience, you know, because it's in a big room. But the small rooms is going to be intimate, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be a great testing for me for the material. But I'm going to try and give as much as a big night as I can for them, you know.
Yeah.
The idea of the show, I always had an idea that I was going to have like a stage backdrop with, you know, props and stuff like that for the show. So it's definitely going to happen, and I will do it on a certain scale in the Limelight.
Yeah.
But in terms of the Ulster Hall, I've planned big for it, and I'm going to go for it. Like, you know, in terms of the production of it and stuff like that. I'll not give too much away, but
yeah,
it's. I think people are enjoying the storytelling. So this show is just basically my stories from working, which I'm sure you're well aware of some of the stuff that I've done over the years, things that's happened when I was working and stuff, and it always goes down well. So
yeah,
I think people aren't going to be shortchanged where sometimes they go to see somebody and then they go, he's not like what he was in the videos. I think people's buying tickets because they know I'm a storyteller, and that's what they're getting on the night.
Yeah, I agree. I would say from my perspective, the storytellings went down a storm. Do you think there's an expectation for you to tell some of the stories that you've already told on podcasts, on your own podcast and on Shane's and stuff? Will you just do entirely new stuff?
Well, this show's on the tools, so it's experiences from work. So in terms of, I mean, you could add in maybe to that working as a comedian and doing the gigs for the UDA or doing something like that. But
yeah.
I'm going to try and not do any of the stuff that I've done on podcasts so far, and try and just branch it out into different stories. But it might be certain material that people see me over the years. But as you know, there's been only a certain market of people would have got to see me live. And
That's true.
There's been people watching stuff of mine and saying, I've never heard you doing that before. And I was like, I have done that before, but maybe I've only done it once or twice. And they're like, oh, right. So that it will be all new stuff for most people that's there.
Yeah. Oh, that's great, man. I mean, I agree with your sentiment of trying to make the Ulster Hall show like big as possible, because it is a big room. I mean, you don't have to give too much away, but like if I was in that situation, I think I would agonize over what song I would come on stage to and what I would leave to as much as I would the material. You know, I'm that sort of guy. I mean,
you're 100% right. Great minds think alike, mate. You're probably thinking the same way as me. But yeah, no, I have been going over it, and lucky to have a brother who is like full on musician.
So he
It
is.
has two bands and works in the radio and is also a sound technician as well as. So I've now got him on board, and he's just changed the whole thought process of what I'm doing and how I'm doing, and I'm just glad to have him on board. So it will help the show, because you know yourself as a comedian, I'm just, I don't even know how to set the sound up for the microphone on the night. So
Yeah.
that aspect of it, sometimes you take to have a few people around it. But I'm humbled by it, to be honest with you. The fact that so many people want to go and see me, and it's my show, because as I've said to people before, I've played the bigger audiences, but it wasn't for me. They were there to see someone else.
Yeah.
So I think for the play to that amount of people that's came to actually see you, it just changes it a wee bit, changes the feeling of it a wee bit.
100%. I mean, it's always good to do stand up, and even just going on to a stage when to applause is lovely. But when it's your show, regardless of venue, whether it's like at a small fringe venue, whatever the crack is, there is a different vibe to it, 100%. Where you're like, I won't say it's an easier gig, but there is something that inspires confidence in you. But at the same time, you're like, you raise your game subconsciously, because you're like, well, these people have paid to see me. And in terms of the Ulster Hall, obviously, the tickets are a few quid. People have to like organise babysitters, maybe go for dinner beforehand, and that's a pain in the hole. And there's a bit more of a, as you say, an event around it instead of just dandering
Yeah,
the Laverties. This is an event, so it's good that you're thinking
yeah,
that way.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
it'll be good. I can't wait. I think going to see Colin playing the SSE and Shane to play the Waterfront and Ulster Hall, and seeing them boys there doing that, it's give me a bit more confidence in being able to do it as well,
yeah,
because they're friends, but I also gig with them. So, and they looked as comfortable as they were meant to be up there, and I'm just looking forward to it. And I'm not nervous. Somebody was asking me the other day, "Are you nervous?" And I was like, "No, not one bit. I'm 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 at ease now, because I know what I'm sort of doing."
yeah. I mean, that's how I think when you get to like our stage, having done stand up for so long, you get more nervous about ticket sales than you do the show, because the show you'll be like, that'll
Mm-hmm.
always be fine, because that's
Yeah,
entirely in your hands. Ticket sales
yeah,
is different, because depending on who you're working
yeah,
with and the environment. I mean, like the fact that you sold it out during a pandemic, man, when people are like, well, we could buy tickets to this, but it could be pushed back another 7 months, and then we might not be able to go. So that's
mm-hmm.
another testament to how keen people are to see this show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's
No, it's
mad.
great.
It's fucking great, mate. I'm delighted for you. It's the main thing now, obviously, after these sort of announcements today, is trying to get as much stage time beforehand, I assume, because
Yeah.
I assume you've seen the announcements. I mean, what's your view on the easing out of lockdown? Do you think it's sensible, or?
Well, I mean, they're always going to do it in bit part pieces and do it that way. I think comedians are going to be the ones that are going to benefit from the start, because they're not going to have live music straight away. They're not going to have, so the best thing for venues to do. But do venues need to get people in? Maybe for the first lot of weeks they won't, because people just will be glad to get into a bar.
Yeah.
But then it'll get to the stage where people will want. Well, I'm not just going to go there and pay a fiver a pint.
Yeah.
I want to go and something to be on. Do you know what I mean? They'll get fed up fairly quickly. They'll a day or two in the bar, and they'll be like, "I want entertained here."
I agree.
So the bars, they'll have to do stuff, and they're obviously going to get the comedians to do it, because they can't have dancing straight away. They can't have anything else. So a controlled environment is either have a magician on making balloon fucking things or something, or comedian, and they're going to go down the road of a comedian, because fucking balloon modelers are a fortune.
Yeah. So it's going to be us and George Firehorse are going to be billionaires by the end of the year, because
Yeah, he's
he'll
already a billionaire.
yeah,
He makes a fortune for kids' parties.
yeah. Could you do a kids party as a stand up? Do you think?
Yeah.
You probably
If
could, to be
anybody
fair.
wants to book me, I'll fucking do it. Like,
I'd love to see that.
it's just, right, kids, come on, the fuck, let's go. Mummy, he's brilliant. He's fucking brilliant, Mummy. What'd you say? What are you doing?
I would love for you to be doing a kids party, and just some wee kid with like an Iron Man t-shirt heckles you, and you do your classic heckle comeback,
Fuck up, you get kneecapped in the
fucking great. Just a wee Wayne crying would be great. Fuck's sake.
head.
Oh
We
man.
actually did. We booked a guy for our project. He's 14 now. We booked somebody for his first birthday. I didn't even know George or nothing then. And we booked this guy. And he was like ex Foreign Legion or something. He turned up on a motorbike and he looked like Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like, this guy was from, and he came in and he was a magician.
Yeah.
But he showed the kids. It was a first birthday. And he showed the kids how to put matches out in your tongue. But he could fight like fuck, so nobody pulled him about it. Do you know what I mean?
He was hard as nails.
It was like, do you know what? He shouldn't have done that, but who the fuck's going to challenge him? Nobody.
He must have been hard not if you said nothing to him. Like, if you were like,
fuck, I swear to God, we'll see him.
Fucking hell. Like, there's definitely, you need to have a certain mindset to work in like kids entertainment. Like, see the people, you probably know better than me, but see like kids, like babies TV shows and all those fellas with like no polka dot jackets on them chatting away. You must be a certain type of person, hashtag pedo, to do that. Do you know what I mean?
No, hashtag fucking money fucking bags.
Oh, for sure.
Your man Justin Fletcher is a fucking millionaire.
Is that, I think that's who I'm thinking of. Will he be sort of heavier
yes.
fella?
Yes.
What show does he do? Does he do a few?
He does. He's on every single show they do on CBeebies.
Yeah.
He's like the fucking, who would you say? I was going to say Stephen Nolan, but he's even worse than Stephen Nolan. He's like one of them cunts, just every channel, he's on the channel, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean?
He's in everything. He's on Line of Duty.
Everything.
He's in fucking everything.
He's in everything, and he's fucking cleaning up. He's worth a fortune.
I'd say so, man.
So maybe he's not that stupid.
Yeah, I'd say he's probably outsmarted all of us, I have to say. Speaking of Line of Duty, is it something you watch? I've been curious about that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant.
I love it. I really like it, and it also helps that I know like the places where they are, and I'm like, Balix, that's not the hell, that's Corpus Christi School, you swagger. But
Yeah.
no, I really do like it. Although you do catch things like the other week I tweeted, I was like, he needs fucking 4 park hotels just to lie down on the sofa, but he's bucking all around him. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? And he drove the whole way from like the Liverpool to meet her in her house, and then getting out buck, like, you know what I mean?
Just to fucking blow the load. So he's nothing wrong with the dick. The back's
No,
fucked, but
no.
yeah.
No, that's what it's like. Fuck a back, just get in there.
It's fair to say she's probably on top. I'd assume that much, or maybe not if she's. Do you know what I mean?
I think you were thinking about that. There's a lot of thoughts within that process. I never even thought about that.
I love Line of Duty. I think I've loved it from the start. I do sort of get lost as a few things, because obviously it's such a meaty story from the start, but I feel good that whoever oversees it obviously has it like reined in the respect that Ted Hastings, Adrian Dunbar's character, every so often flings in like a wee colloquial phrase that people love. I'm happy that the showrunner has that bit reined in and doesn't like turn it up to fucking 90. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Where he'd be like, fucking
Yes.
chatting about Hallions and, do you know what I mean? Like all the
Yes.
phrases.
It gets you to mean. He's wait your neck in every 2 minutes, all, and yeah. Do you know? I actually read somewhere that Adrian Dunbar had a massive part in them throwing them odd wee bits in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I don't know how true this article was.
Yeah.
But it sort of was like he said something one day when they were filming. Whether it be, did you think I come up with that in a bubble? And they stopped recording, and they were like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah.
And then he explained it, and then they went, oh, that's fantastic. And they went, well, you're going to do that. People's going to say, what's that mean? But then people from here is going to say, oh, that means such and such and such.
Yeah.
So it'll generate Twitter. So they decided to leave it in.
Yeah.
And it was so successful then that they sort of, as you say, they don't let him do it constantly, but he does throw it in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit mental, because I put a comment up yesterday on Conor McGregor's picture, and I just says, you look like a curbstone on the shankle.
Seen that, yeah.
But some girl, no matter, see if somebody takes my stuff and puts it up, they get fucking millions of fucking hits. Whereas I do it, I don't get it. And Willie Thompson will tell you that, because I'd be getting him to put all our podcast stuff up on his, because if I put up mine, I get fuck all. And so this girl put it up, and it's like on 15,000 fucking likes or something, right?
Fuck.
But I put it up tonight on Instagram, and people that I know in London said to me, "We just Googled what you were talking about there,
Yeah.
and you're 100% right." Do you know what I mean? So it's the same way,
Yeah.
because somebody in fucking anybody sort of outside of sort of past Newry, past Donegal's not going to understand what I'm saying there,
Oh,
but
for sure.
they're
Yeah.
googling it and they're agreeing and going, "No, you're 100% right." Get
Yeah.
you?
That's one of the few examples when people have to like Google what the joke is and then laugh at it. Usually they're like, "Oh, it's a load of bollocks." Do you know what I mean? Like if you did that in
Yeah.
stand up and had to explain why it was funny, it wouldn't be funny. Do you know what I mean?
No.
But I
Yeah.
think in Line of Duty, is there like they must have sat down ahead of the season and went, people like him firing in the all wee phrase. What phrase are we going to do this season? What phrases do you reckon should be in the wheelhouse for consideration? Even like mad ones, because if he only does it once a season, you could probably do one very fucking mad one.
I would really love for somebody to say something to him and him to hit him with the outline, "Suck a back of my balls."
That's what I was thinking.
I would just go, "Do you know what? I don't even need to see anymore. Give them the award. That's the film. That's it." Could
Gets
you
an
just
Emmy.
imagine his character, "Suck a back of my"?
I can picture it so clearly. Do you know what I mean? Because he is like, it's so funny coming from him as well. Because Adrian Dunbar obviously sounds very like sort of very Belfast, but he's very sort of refined. Like his hair is always perfect. Do you know what I mean? So it seems funnier coming from him. Do you know what I mean? But he just went
Yes.
suck it back into my balls, and just Martin Compton standing there going, "All right, Gaffer, no worries."
Oh, or even till the main cops that's getting rid of him there or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, those two. Fuck's sake.
Stick your fucking job up your hole.
I'm glad that it doesn't happen, but I would love to see. I mean, maybe that's a sketch that we could do where it's
Yeah.
just like a carry-on version of Line of Duty, like carry on snorting or something like that. There, where it's like just pure, you know.
Did you do Belfast Blues with us?
I didn't. No, I actually. I'll be honest. I haven't seen it, but I heard you were very good in it. So, congrats.
No. Well, do you know what? It was meant to be like whenever we done it. Shane says, "I want it to be like bollocks," if you know what I mean. So
Yeah,
I want it to be really bad.
yeah,
Like, and you know yourself, it's harder to be bad, but I thought it was great in that sense. I thought like there was a few wee lines and stuff. But I was saying to Shane, like, really could do a whole Line of Duty, Belfast Blues sort of, because a lot of people says like that's just a rip off of that. But we done it before, in a sense, done it before that, in a way, before Line of Duty real kicked off. But
yeah.
it's definitely something we should look into doing. Like, and you could go to the places where they're filming and stuff.
Oh,
Like you
easily,
could
yeah,
stand outside the library
yeah.
and you know, let on to be extras or something. There's a whole catalogue of things you could do.
100%. There's serious meat to that idea. I mean, just you and like if you got like a police stripper uniform and stuck that on you, and then I put on a shite waistcoat, and then you just went suck it back in my oh mate, it'd be fucking great. But see, to the people that were criticizing Belfast Blues for like a Line of Duty thing, obviously I know the gist and stuff. The whole thing about Belfast Blues, I thought, was like a continuation of, remember Shane's video about how a lot of American actors get roles in like Irish films and TV. I thought it was more a piss take of that. Do you know what I mean? More so than Line of Duty. It was like
Well,
an homage to that.
Shane, I done the first one of them with him. Then he done another one. Then he done another one, and I went, I must have been that bad that he had to make about 10 different fucking
Yeah,
of that there.
I was in
But
one and I was terrible.
that video, well, I think you're meant to be terrible in them. I think that's the
Yeah,
point of it.
but see,
Do
like
you know what I mean?
I was like legitimately bad. Like I was so bad I couldn't even be terrible. I, could, I couldn't raise my game enough to be terrible. You
Oh
know?
fuck.
Oh man, it's fucking just it's a great show. I mean, obviously it's one of those shows that like you do sort of look at locations and go, I've been there, I've parked there or something like that there, but it's good enough that you do forget about that pretty quickly. But
Yeah.
like I do enjoy when they're like driving and something they're in Tate's Avenue and then suddenly they're in fucking
Aye.
Finnahy and you're like, here,
Alright.
fair fuck. Yeah. Oh, it's fucking great, man. I mean, it's kind of saved like the tail end of this lockdown for sure. I think the timing
Yeah.
of it has been fucking great, and I'm wondering now, how many more seasons are they going to do? Like, it's so well written, but I don't want it to be one of those shows that gets to like season 33 and like Dunbar's got an oxygen tank and he's like to take it out to go, bent coppers. Do you know what I mean? It'd be fucking class, but
Remember I said in season 16, suck a back of my balls?
that's good, wasn't it? That's good. Because like you don't want it to go on too far where they're like doing spin-offs and stuff like on a boat, stand a line of duty and stuff like that. You don't want that shit, you know what I mean?
Stand a line of duty.
Do you know what I mean? Get fucking who do you think Hitch is? Who do you think it is?
I thought it was Dunbar, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so I still kind of do.
Yeah, I think they're making you think that way. There's been wee hints that I think he's in the Masons, and I think all that there that they're showing you. But I think he's had to join that. I think he knows that there's corruption in there, but he's been corrupt at some stage, or he's done something to hide something at some stage.
Yeah.
And they have him by the balls that way, you know.
Yeah.
So he only lets it go so far.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, there's a 3 or 4 episodes left of the season and something like that, maybe 2 or 3 even. But I think it's going to be it's such a frustrating show sometimes where the season finale you think everything's going to be wrapped up and the good chunk of it is, and then there's like a couple other things that develop, and then they're like, oh, you have to wait till next season to see how that unfolds, and you're like, particularly now you're used to like binge watching everything. This is like one of the few shows that I watch as it airs, you know, like once a week, and I have to wait. I feel like it's old school. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
know what you mean. Yeah, no, I like that feel of it. I'm actually even old school. So what happens to me is on a Sunday, well, most nights, not just a Sunday, because we've the 2 youngest ones, we have to split up to get them asleep.
Right.
So I'll take one and Andrew will take the other one, because if they're together, they won't go to sleep. So by the time sometimes I don't get them to sleep, it could be 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
10:30. So then I have to sit and then watch it. And I can't look at social media because people will be posting about what's happened. So I'm like trying to hide away from it and then watch it and catch up, you know, that way.
Yeah.
But no, it's great that it's like that, as you say, because everything else, you just go in and you binge watch. And there's some stuff I've started watching on Netflix and I'm like, I can't wait until this is fucking done.
I agree.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you have to watch it right through and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
I agree, man. And I even feel now that, like, you know, and I've said this a million times, but it's still true. You know, when people like message you going, have you watched this true crime documentary or Ted Bundy or Cecil Hotel or Making a Murder? And I'm like, I don't have the attention span. I'm like 3 minutes in on my phone on IMDB. Do you know what I mean? Even any TV show, I'm like, what was he in? And then I just go, oh, Casualty. And then like I missed about 10
Remember
minutes.
Him now. Yeah. Remember him now. He delivered the milk in EastEnders in 1989.
Exactly.
Fuck, there's your man. There's your man. Who? No, your man. Remember he was in fucking the Cabri song. Remember?
Do you know your man there? He raped a bird in Midsummer Murders.
He played the big fucking drums and all, remember?
Do you remember, it's fucking, yeah, and you do be like really sort of happy when, even if it's like the shittest role of all time. We're like, he was in Biker Grove. Do you remember that? No one gives a fuck.
Oh, he's came a long way up, boy, hasn't he?
God bless him. Man, I'm the same. I find like people like binge watch a lot of stuff. I've done it the odd time, and then they're like, "What did you think?" And I'm like, I don't actually know. Like I spent 8 hours in a row watching fucking Stranger Things. Couldn't tell you what happened at all. We kid, we know teeth, and there's a lot of aliens. That's all. That's all I know.
That's all you remember. Fuck, I want to watch it now.
Oh man, it's fucking like these obviously these restrictions and stuff are lifting now. I mean, I do think it's within reason. Like what so pretty much like the end of May, everything is open again. It would seem. Which is, that's all right, isn't it? I thought it was going to be a bit later, personally.
Yeah. No, it's great because I have the shows in June, so I sort of want to get them out of the road. So it's good now that it looks like they're definitely going to go ahead. Like, do you know what I mean? So,
oh, yeah, for sure.
And then on top of that, we're going to have music actually happening, like in August and stuff. So there's going to be like concerts and stuff that you can go to, which is great.
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't mind getting a few things myself just to get entertained a wee bit, you know, that way.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I sort of spent most of the lockdown. I remember the last time we did this and stuff, we spoke about lack of gigs that we were able to do, and losing out on, financially and stuff like that. There, it was only maybe the cusp of like last year where I started to miss going to a gig as a patron. Do you know what I mean? Just going to watch someone at Belsonic or someone in Custom House Square.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, I'd be very keen to go see someone. I seen Iron Maiden was announced. I'm like, I might go to that, but I would probably go to anything, to be honest. Even if fucking if Chico's playing Thompson's, I'm going, sir.
Well, I'm going to the 12th. I don't give a fuck. I get the Conor McGregor t-shirt and I'm going to it. They're marching. I don't give a fuck. I'll dance up and down the road. It's music, it's live, and it's going to be happening. So
yeah, for
that's
sure.
one gig, is definitely going to happen. Like.
Oh yeah, I mean, was it cancelled last year? Did it go ahead last year?
It was a virtual one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
There's all these guys in their houses walking up and down their living rooms,
knocking over lamps and all, the big drum. Sorry, Vera. Sorry about that.
Patient behind the TV, I have to make it authentic.
Fucking hell! Like just like they don't even realize that like they've went live on the Zoom meeting or whatever, and your man's like basically no cacks and he's ironing his sash. Do you know what I mean?
His face painted.
I mean that was the thing, man. I mean, I appreciate that that certain things had to still go ahead, but did everything have to be virtual? Like pretty much last year. Pride, I remember Ruth Curran telling me they're like Pride was virtual and stuff like that there, and virtual parades and virtual seances or whatever, and fucking orgies and dogging, and do you know what I mean?
It actually got the stage. It was doing my balls in. Like another girl tweeted a thing I put up, which I said, what happened? Like me and my mates used to just go stand in a field somewhere with a bottle of cider, and we were all rough. Now they're sitting in their fucking hot tubs drinking strawberry daiquiris, playing bingo. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what happened to people? Like they just sort of lost their way and just were doing fucking stupid things.
Yeah. Well,
do you know what I mean? Stuff that they would never have thought of doing.
I agree. I mean, I think it was just a level of boredom that people had never reached before, because we've all said it before. Oh, I'm fucking bored as fuck. But you had like probably gigs that weekend, and you could go to the cinema and all that shit. But this was like proper boredom, because even me, like the two signs of my boredom is that what the chair I sit on every day from working from home is going to break any day. It's going to collapse. And I'm just waiting for it, and I'm excited. That'll be something to talk about. And second, I'm actually considering now out of boredom just buying like 19 like pizzas and garlic breads and just stuff in the freezer so it freezes over so I can defrost it. Do you know what I mean? That's the extent of it. We're like,
just to give you something to do.
That'll pass a day. Yeah. You just get that out of the bread knife and beat the fuck out of it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's definitely it. Just this new level of boredom. But at least now we've got the gigs and all they come. And it's very weird because obviously you've got your shows and I have mine, and I think obviously Dave's.
How's that going?
Well, it's February, so people are excited for it. I'm hoping that it sells well. I think I've got a few ideas to plug it and stuff, but I won't lie, I'll be gutted if it didn't at least sell better than the last one. I think that's fair enough.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to assume that. I'll still fire. I've got video ideas that I want to do, and the podcast is picked up and stuff, because even that, I mean, you started a podcast at the right time with someone, but I had to stop my solo episodes because I just had nothing to talk about. That's why I'm having guests pretty much all the time now, because man, it got so difficult. I mean, it was basically just
trying to get the R in yourself. Yeah.
Oh, it was very difficult. So I'm glad that the podcast is picking up, and hopefully that will make people buy a few tickets and stuff, because I think, and I'm sure you feel this way yourself, that having your original Limelight date before it obviously escalated, it was just something to work towards, because otherwise you probably wouldn't have been writing half as much stuff for at least, you wouldn't have had anything to look forward to in a weird way. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, well, we sort of need that. You need your fix. You need to go out and actually do a gig to then inspire you to go on. And me and you said it before, touched on before, you have a bad gig, to go and have your fucking good gig the next one. And you know that yourself, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me and you would be sitting talking after a gig and go, listen, that was fucking terrible. And then the next minute, boom, you do your next one, it's fucking flies, you know. So we sort of feed off the gigs ourselves, you know what I mean? You need them. You need them. It helps you and it just prepares you for the next sort of one.
Yeah.
So when we got that took away from us, it was really difficult, you know what I mean?
100%.
And I never wanted to do a podcast. I genuinely didn't. And I said this to Colin before. I says, Colin's was sort of like the first real podcast from everybody within our sort of scene. And I just think he has it nailed down. And I was sort of like, I don't really want to do one because I don't think I could do better than his one.
Yeah.
So, but I think mine's is different in the sense where there's people want to actually see what I'm talking about in terms of stories and stuff like that. So I sort of went, you know what? I need to do this. I need to have this as the platform that I need at the minute.
Yeah.
While lockdown's and happening, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why I ended up doing it, sort of going against what I says I wasn't going to do, but
yeah,
it was sort of needs must, you know.
Yeah.
Had to adapt.
Oh, 100%. Well, I mean, it's always worth a go, and I think fundamentally, I think there's a lot of people who probably don't do one for fear of being like Collins, but at the end of the day, you're a different person, and your sense of humor's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to do general banter at all. You know what I mean? There's no way I'm trying to do that.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to do my own stuff and just get it out there. So I basically just took that view on it.
Yeah. And did I say, are you using like a wee thing? It's like a wee shed or something that you've built. It's like a purpose-built studio, or you're working on that or something?
I've built the studio at the minute. Yeah. No, it's I have it up. It's got the roof on it. It's got the walls on it. I'm insulating it at the minute. So that's happening out the back. Well, everybody's building bars, so I didn't want to just build a bar.
Yeah.
And I applied to the Arts Council because I know that other people were getting funding, like musicians and stuff.
Yeah.
For studios. So I went, I'm going to apply for it. I didn't get the funding. So just have to try and sell more tickets or something, or do a couple of weddings coming up. I've loads of weddings coming up.
I have a few. I usually don't do them, but I think just for the sake of having a mic in my hand again, I took a few for like late this year and next year as well. But I'm actually weirdly I'm looking forward to them, whereas usually I would have dreaded them and said no.
Yeah, it's because it's something happened. Excuse me, yawning. But yeah, no, it's great. It's great. I go out and do a few weddings now and see if I can get a few of them under my belt, because they give me a bit of ammunition, you know.
Oh yeah, I'd say so. I mean, as you say, every gig is beneficial, even though it doesn't seem like it at the time. But you've done loads of weddings, like more than most people.
I've always done loads of weddings. Yeah. I would only do them. I give people the preconditions in a sense. It sounds like you're a diva. I'm not. I just say to people, look, the only way this is going to work is if I do it after the speeches, you know.
Yeah.
And it does tend to work if you do it after speeches, and I don't really do much longer than 35 minutes.
Yeah, that's a fair during a wedding.
Yeah.
That's a fair whack, like, to be fair. Have you ever any horror stories from weddings? Or have they always been
completely.
Yeah.
Of course. I'd be a liar to say I didn't. I done one which was on Boxing Day. Celtic were playing Rangers, right?
Perfect.
The girl's father was the head of the Orange Order in Pomeroy, and the bride or the groom, his father was the head of the GAA in Coal Island.
Of course it was.
So, and it was on Boxing Day, and I went there. I went, I don't really need the fucking great material for this, because this is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Paddy McGonnell, the money man, he phoned me up. And he was like, Paddy, I hear you're doing a wedding in Tully Glass. Can I come with you? And I went, all right, come on down, Paddy. So I went on, and there was 1,000 people this wedding. Not joking, it was a massive wedding.
Yeah.
And like 10 people were listening to me on the tables on the left. 10 people. Fuck. And the rest of the hall just
didn't give a fuck.
Wasn't listening. Not one bit.
Jesus.
But before I went on, the bride grabbed me and says, I don't want you to use the fact that he's a Catholic and I'm a Protestant. I don't want you to use anything to do with sex. I don't want you to mention the Orange Order. I don't want you to mention the GAA. I don't want you to use swear words. And I don't want you to mention the Celtic and Rangers match. And I was like,
That's your set away.
What do you want me to do? Fucking announce us on for your first fucking dance because there's fucking nothing else for me to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you might as well read out the menu or something.
So, I mean, the bride told me what she didn't want me to mention. First thing I mentioned was, who the fuck's idea was to have a mixed marriage on a day called Boxing fucking Day in Ballymena when Celtic and Rangers are playing. And it was just like, the Protestants all stopped listening, and then 10 Catholics at the front. That was the way it went.
Yeah.
And they loved it.
Yeah.
But Paddy Mc Donnell, when I come off, he went, I can't believe you done the whole 40 minutes that you said you were going to do. And I went, I know, Paddy, it was fucking terrible, but I had to get paid. And he went, fair play to you. The reason why I came down is I done one in here before that was a fucking nightmare. And I wanted to see if you were going to have a nightmare too. And you did. And here's me, thanks, Paddy.
Appreciate it. I have to say, like, of all the comedians in our circuit, everyone's got like horror stories, but yours always you just seem to attract. You're like a tractor beam for mad bastards looking a corporate comedian. It's like everyone's like, oh well, the mic wasn't great, and you're like, here, not only was my gig shite,
I'll
but
not say no to it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's one of them ones. Like, I remember being asked to do a gig in the middle of Glenbryn, which is the mad estate in Ardoyne, the Protestant mad estate in Ardoyne, right? Where the Holy Child thing happened. So people wouldn't even deliver. Iceland don't deliver into it, right? This is how rough this place is. And I get asked to do a gig during the day in the community centre for Men's Health. Right? Okay. So this is like 1 o'clock in the day.
Yeah.
I drive in the black taxi and I said to the guy running it, don't tell anybody that I'm a comedian. Just say I'm somebody local's grandson or something. Right?
Right.
So I went in and mingled amongst them, right? They all got turkey shaves at 10 o'clock. Then they got like their blood pressure taken and stuff like that. Then they got a manicure.
Right.
And the stories that I was listening to all day was fucking frightening. The sectarianism was frightening, right? And I was going, when I find out I'm a Catholic, I'm fucking And then we all had baked potatoes, and they moved us into like this pool room.
Right.
And I'm sitting at the baked potato, and then I went, right, I'm going to jump up now. And I jumped up and went, here, do you know the way I was letting on I was from here and that? I'm actually a comedian, and I'm from West Belfast. And one of them just fucked the baked potato at me.
What a hell.
And he went, fuck off and sit down, will you? Stand back, a fuck, I need it. And I went, no, seriously, I'm a comedian. And he went, fuck's sake, ways up. And then they clicked on them that they had been talking all day and I'd be listening to everything.
Yeah.
So then there was a bit of shit themselves come into it because they were going, fuck it, what if this guy is a female from West Belfast? So I done the gig and it went sort of all right. You know, as much as a gig could go well for a comedian who'd been sitting with them all day, had a turkey shave, and then fucking just brings it on them.
Yeah.
And then I went outside and they followed me outside and I got in the taxi and they were like, he fucking is a fucking, look, he's a black taxi man. It was a fucking, you just wouldn't do it, you know.
I do.
I could just see like Colin and Shane getting a message from somebody saying, would you do this? And they're like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, oh.
Yeah, you're cleaning up because they say no.
I'm just saying, I'm on the fuck, I'll do it.
Oh man, I mean, the baked potato. What was there anything on it? Or was it just beans and cheese? Or
he just had cheese and sweet corn on it, so it was a lucky one.
Jesus Christ, that's mad. Like, I mean, how do you continue doing stand up when someone's flung a Maris Piper at you? Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what? But I actually come from like that background where getting something like a baked potato fucked at you is a normal circumstances. You know, it's not extraordinary. We would freak out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know, wouldn't be the first time fucking one of my mates has fucked a full kebab at me or something. And you know, it's just, I wouldn't freak out at stuff like that. I genuinely don't. I would laugh it off.
Yeah, you'd need to, I suppose. I remember once in my second student house in Landseer Street, it was just shithole. Like, there was a bap on the floor for ages. It was just, and that was there. I'm like, every time like the odd like parents would be visiting, be like, "What's up?" I'm like, "That's the bap," and that's the way it is. I mean, we like it. It's like a shite.
It ended up being part of the family.
It's like an ottoman or something like that. There. It's lovely. And one day we were just all drinking, and someone just took this big steel bap that had been sitting there for months, just winged it in the side of my forehead. I nearly cried. Hey, it was fucking sore.
Sore? Oh, fuck!
Uh,
Here, what? That's a usual old saying. You go into Lena's shop down at Divis and you used to feel the baps and you used to went, "Here, mate, they're not fucking fresh today. You fucking be able to throw out the peelers." That's a saying in West Belfast.
Really?
You could fuck out of the peelers, and that means that the fucking bread steel and it's mostly baps that you've been talking about.
So do you?
They could put that in the line of duty.
Exactly, I was about to say that. Yeah, imagine Hastings. Do Hastings?
Are you serious? Your breath's as fresh as this bap. You can throw it at the peelers.
Just imagine that with the line of duty music, which is so like tense and dramatic, and just Hastings.
Line of Duty is sponsored by
Curse Pinks,
Macker Lane's Bakery, Ormo,
Ashers. That's fucking mad, mate. I mean, it's like thinking about stories like that during all this shite. It's made you miss it. Even like I've almost missed the shit show gigs more so than the good ones in a weird way. I know that might not make sense, but just that's what, like, reminiscing about those made me laugh. Whereas like there was like, oh, that was a good gig, but if you reminisce like the shite ones, you're just like, you just can't help but laugh at the lunacy.
Shake your head in your hands, yeah.
Oh, the lunacy of even accepting the gig. I mean, like, the warning signs are always there. It's very few occasions where the gig just turns bad out of nothing. Most of the time, if you've got an inkling this is going to be a fucking cake show, it usually is. Do you know what I mean? Like, my one of my early gigs, like Katie Daly's in Strabane going on in the middle of karaoke. Do you know what I mean? And I thought, like, yeah, that'll be great. Very excited. And then obviously had to go on between Country Roads and Jailhouse Rock, and I didn't do well. I did about 3 minutes and called everybody a window licker and dropped the mic and left.
Mate, I remember taking one, and I haven't gigged in Ardoyne from it, right? People say like Ardoyne is like they're a particular type of people, and I always used to go like till the bars and stuff in it. But I done a comedy gig in it. It wasn't a comedy gig; it was a talent show, right?
Right.
And I think it was for mental health or something. So it was like a talent show for mental health, and somebody says you should do this, but they had like celebrity judges, which were fucking some fella that was on a radio station that was a pirate radio station, and then somebody that had been in an advertisement for something. Right. You know, it was the celebrities weren't even celebrities. There were celebrities in 3 streets in Ardoyne or something.
Yeah.
And they were the judges. And I went up and I was doing comedy. And because it was like the start of me doing comedy, Andrea and her sister had came. And then I had this friend who found God and religion. And he had grown his hair and had a big beard and big long hair. And funny enough, was an extra in fucking Game of Thrones and films and stuff because of that. But he came with them and he was wearing like Harry Krishner outfit. And I'm up on stage trying to do comedy, and everybody in the hall doesn't give a fuck, right? So they're all talking, and Andrea turns around to the people at the table next to us and goes, excuse me, I couldn't ask you to stop talking a wee minute because that's my husband that's on the stage, and I want to listen to him. And the girl went, you better fuck up. You're not even from fucking Ardoyne. You don't fuck up, I'll stab you, right? So I come off stage, it was a fucking disaster, and come down, and I see Andrea's face and her sister, and then my mate, and I'm like, what's the matter? And they're like, fucking just threatened to stab us. And I went, who? And they went, Damon's there. So I was like, you must have heard them wrong. So I went over to the table, and I was like, listen, my wife, and blah, 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 and I was up on stage, and we don't want to cause any hassle. Yes, we're coming in the Ardoyne, but I'm doing this for, you know, mental health, and I'm just trying to do a wee bit of stand-up. She was just trying to, and your woman says, are you her husband? And I says, and she says, you better fuck off before you get stabbed. I was like, what? And then I obviously took it very well and lifted the table a drink and fucked it around him. And then there was chaos. And I was like, I'd never gig in an Ardoyne again.
Yeah.
And the doorman says to me on the way out, aye, because we're not going to fucking let you. Do you know what I mean?
You don't have a choice. Oh. Ardoyne's Got Talent. Oh my God.
It was, mate. It was like, fucking, what's your talent? Comedian? Fuck off.
I'm just trying to think who else was on like the show. Was there like two lads fencing but with like potato peelers and someone juggling steel baps? Or
there was a fella actually grooming a dog.
Right enough.
Yeah.
What? And then like was this like a local
and the
man?
mad thing about it was when that was happening, I didn't even think to go, do you know what? I don't think this is a show for me.
You reckon at that point you could have went here?
Yeah.
That's all indication.
After the 2-3-year-olds had done the Katy Perry fucking tribute act, I still wasn't put off. Bad guy. Badly grooming a dog, let me just say.
Giving her like a Peaky Blinders haircut.
He was like a second year hairdresser or something, or a barber, second year apprentice barber.
Yeah.
And he was like, I've always loved fucking dogs, so I'm going to start, but I'm not just giving them the normal haircut. This is going to be like a stylish one. So I've given the dog a step, whereas normally you would make a wee skirt on. And everybody's like, fucking got a bit of talent. Like, he's made that boxer look like a fucking poodle.
Well, Sweeney Prod, fucking hell.
Oh, man. And I wasn't put off. I still tried to go on stage after that. Yeah. So that just tells you more about me than it does the people who are doing, to be honest.
You brought it in yourself, man, to be honest. I mean, what more indication did you need?
The guy after me, he was fucking juggling petrol bombs. Whoa!
Oh, man. I mean, you learn pretty quickly as a stand-up that you don't go on in between musicians. That's just the thing. You don't mix, as we found out.
No.
But now we can also say don't go on after like aspiring dog groomers and juggling petrol bombs and some guy just, do you know what I mean? Just like stabbing a wheelie, like kicking a wheelie bin that he stole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's fucking mad. Oh man, I miss it. But at least now, just to finish up, we have some light at the end of the tunnel, Patrick, and that's all.
We're getting there. Definitely are. And I'm looking forward to all the gigs, as you said. We've got, Aaron has to reschedule a show. Mickey's doing his shows in the Ulster Hall. We've got Dave doing his in December. We've got you doing the Limelight. So there's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot
100%.
of the local guys who are out there. So hopefully we all just do well and the tickets all just sell. You know what I mean?
Exactly, man. Yeah, I mean that's all we can ask for. I think a lot of yourself included, a lot of the guys that I spoke to, obviously for the podcast, we're getting it very tight. Yourself and Mickey were very like itching to get back on stage, and I was just like, this could be a long old process. So the fact that everybody's come out of it all right is somewhat miraculous. You know what I mean? Well, from a comedy,
Mickey getting naked.
Yeah.
Everybody was sharing a video the other day of Neil Lennon drunk, and I was like, I think you're actually targeting the wrong person from Lurgan.
Yeah.
You need to be putting videos up of Mickey Barnum because he's running about his mess. It's like a nut. I was talking to Colin about it, and Colin's like, I had to unfollow him on social media. I can't watch him. He's fucking doing my head. And I'm like, I'm actually loving it.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah. Well, I'll retract my point. Comedy wise, everybody's doing well. In terms of their general demeanour, everybody's got worse.
I couldn't believe he got naked. He just put up a video of getting naked on thing, and I was like, oh my god, he's just went for it.
No filter, just dick between the legs. And
did I tell anybody else that I was on TV last week? Well, here's me naked.
Yeah. Oh man, it's fucking great. Look, I know you're not blessed for time, so I'll probably wrap up there if that's all right. If that's cool.
No, 100%, mate. That's great. Thank you very much, mate. Always a pleasure to be on.
Oh, you're very welcome. And sure, I'll hopefully see you sooner rather than later. And I'm sure.
Yep, definitely get something, bud.
Yeah,
thank
100%,
you very much.
Man. Very welcome. I'll end the meeting now. I'll let you get to it, man. But I'll see you soon. Take it easy.
All the best, bud.
All the best, man. Pleasure. See you soon, mate. Bye bye.